Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith here at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with another edition of your Southeast Idaho Weather Hazard Briefing. This for Saturday, September 28th, 2019. Let's open with the regional radar loop. The storm that we've been advertising for several days now has arrived. You can see being picked up here on radar a zone of widespread, pretty moderate precipitation moving into the forecast area, right where we expected it to be, down across the southern highlands, over toward Bear Lake, the Caribou Highlands, and areas east of I-15. Some of that sneaking into the Snake Plain right along our populated interstate corridor as well. If you look at the overall radar picture too, you can kind of pick out that low pressure system that is setting up shop just to our west. We've got the activity over our area moving to the northeast here. Showers up here across the panhandle of Idaho, moving more to the north. And then on the backside of that low, shower activity wrapping back in, moving southeast here along the Pacific coast. So our low pressure system is setting up right here in eastern Oregon. This is where it's going to stay parked throughout the day today, tonight, Sunday, and even into Monday, with several hazards affecting our forecast area with this system in place. Here's an overview of what we're expecting over the course of particularly today and Sunday. We've broken this down into three areas. We've got the Central Mountains, Montana border zone. We've got the eastern and southern highlands, including Bear Lake and the Teton Valley. And then last but not least, the Snake Plain and the eastern Magic Valley. As far as snow accumulations go, the best impact, the most moderate impacts are expected here in the Central Mountains and Montana border. Expecting generally 3 to 8 inches of snow above 7,000 feet. Much lower amounts to valley floors, but still 1 to 3 inches are possible. Much more of a minor impact elsewhere. Okay, this is really going to focus in on the Central Mountains, Montana border. Right now, we're generally not expecting any major snowfall impacts when you get outside of those areas, and that includes the Snake Plain. Down here across the east and the south, we may see 1 to 5 inches as you go up in elevation. This is generally going to be above valley floors, possibly impacting a mountain pass or two. But for the rest of the valleys across this region and then into the Snake Plain, eastern Magic Valley, a dusting to an inch. Greatest impact may actually be the hard freeze. Very cold temperatures coming in with this system. We're going to start out cold today, but trend even colder on Sunday. And that colder air filtering in on Sunday is really going to push those temperatures down, mix more of that snow in. But by Monday morning and definitely by Tuesday morning, end of the growing season for every town, every location across southeast Idaho, and we have those lit up here in red. Finally, there is a little bit of a flood threat as well, and you can see here for the Central Mountains and for the Snake Plain, not really expecting any issues from the flooding, but a little bit of a concern as we get down into Teton Valley, Bear Lake, the eastern and southern highlands, the Caribou Highlands. Isolated flooding and maybe some mud and rock slides are possible, and we'll talk about that further in a minute as well. With all this in mind, we do have a winter weather advisory in effect from 6 p.m. this evening through 6 p.m. Sunday across those areas where we are expecting the greater snowfall up here in the Central Mountains and Montana border. And this morning, we went ahead and issued a freeze watch for Monday morning across the Snake Plain and eastern Magic Valley. Now, these are the only areas where we actually issue our frost and freeze products per office protocol here. But again, every location across southeast Idaho will be done with their growing season by Monday or Tuesday. So just as we've done over the last couple days, we're going to take a look at a radar projection here. First, high temperatures as we head into the day today. You can see supporting rain just about everywhere outside of some spots up in the Central Mountains. So a little snow may mix in here, but greatest snowfall impacts as we head into Sunday with the colder air moving in. So starting off at 6 a.m. this morning, and again, this is just one of many models that we look at, so just focus on the big picture, the overall trends, the overall idea that the model is giving us. 6 a.m. projection really picking up that band of heavier precipitation down here in the south and east. And as we step forward to 9 a.m. and then to noon, this zone really getting hit pretty hard with moderate to even isolated heavy rainfall throughout the morning into early afternoon. You can see this may extend far enough west to affect a little bit of the Snake Plain, Rexburg, Idaho Falls, Blackfoot, and Pocatello. You're going to be right on the edge with the heavier precipitation east and south, but some of that possibly affecting these cities as well. Some shower activity across the rest of the forecast area. So everyone is going to have a shot at some precipitation today. Again, temperatures supporting rain, maybe mixing with snow in the Central Mountains. This afternoon, here's 3 p.m. 6 p.m. Again, widespread showers across the region. But by the time we get to about 9 p.m. this evening, you can see kind of a refocusing or regeneration of this zone of heavier rainfall here in southern and eastern portions of the forecast area. Continued showers elsewhere. As we step into midnight, widespread shower activity continues, and by 3 a.m., possibly more of a widespread precipitation ongoing across the Snake Plain, the eastern Magic Valley, the Central Mountains, a little further west than the southern and eastern zone that was being targeted initially. So again, everyone throughout the next 24 hours to 36 hours seeing a chance at some precipitation. And then as we head throughout the day on Sunday, you can see activity gradually lifting off to the north and east. By noon, 3 p.m., and then finally 6 p.m., things really settling down across the region. Again, colder air moving in behind a cold front during the day on Sunday. Pretty quiet overnight Sunday night, but by the time we get to 6 a.m. Monday morning, a few more showers may creep in, and those will progress to the north and east. Noon, 3 p.m., 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Monday. Much lighter activity Monday, lower rainfall and snowfall amounts. Mixed precipitation continues with cooler temperatures in place across the region. So that's the big picture of what we're expecting. As far as precipitation goes, looking at our total liquid equivalent, this is today and Sunday, 48-hour period. Very similar to the maps that we've shown you over the last couple briefings here in anticipation of this storm. Amounts over here in the east generally reaching 1 to 2 inches. So the heaviest precipitation for Teton Valley, Caribou Highlands, Bear Lake, Southern Highlands is really today into tonight. That's going to be almost all rain. You can see that here. Watching for some isolated flooding, maybe a few rock slides, mudslides down in this area just due to the amount of rainfall that we're expecting to come down with this. It is pretty impressive for this time of year across our region. That'll be especially possible in the more mountainous terrain, also over and downhill from wildfire burn scars, and those leave the soil less receptive to absorbing that rainfall. Elsewhere, heaviest precipitation for the Snake Plain, the Magic Valley, the Central Mountain region, the Montana border, kind of coming in several lighter waves as I just showed you on the model this afternoon into Sunday. Mix of rain and snow depending on elevation and timing. And you can see those amounts here are a bit lower, generally a quarter to 0.6 inches here across the Central Mountains. Generally about a quarter to 3/4 in the Snake Plain, some higher amounts possible here in the interstate corridors if we get that banding affecting the major cities. Again, this is a total for the event. Another map kind of showing the best area for flood potential, generally from Driggs or Victor, and then across our southern and eastern highlands, generally staying to the south and east of the major cities along our interstate corridors. Not expecting any major flood issues outside of this shaded area. Updated snowfall for you, no major changes here. Mix of rain and snow throughout the event in the Central Mountains. Snow not until Sunday with that colder air as we get into other portions of the region. So up across this area where we have the advisory, 3 to as much as 8 inches of snow expected above about 7,000 feet. 3 or more inches may impact places like Banner, Galena, Willow Creek Summits, also over to Monida, Reynolds, and Tarhee Passes. 1 to 3 inches right to valley floors up here in the Central Mountains and Montana border, including Sun Valley, Stanley, Chalice, and Island Park. Down here across the south and east, again, a lot of that's falling as rain, so we're really only expecting 1 to 4, 1 to 5 inches of snow as you get up above about 5,500 to 6,000 feet, and that'll be for places like Pine Creek Pass, Fish Creek, Georgetown, Emigration, Geneva, and Border Summits. Outside of that, Snake Plain, Magic Valley, all these valleys down across the southern highlands, even up into Driggs, even up toward Rexburg, really only a dusting to an inch, and the best chance of that snow mixing down to valley floors again will be on Sunday from the morning hours into the mid-afternoon. So best impacts, slushy, slick roads possible, again, up here in the Central Mountains and Montana border, maybe a few of those higher elevation spots and passes in the south and east. But for all the lower elevation valleys, the major cities along the interstates, the Snake Plain, generally not expecting a major impact from snowfall with this particular storm system. Monday morning low temperatures getting down below freezing just about everywhere. Widespread frost and freeze is expected. A hard freeze for some areas ending the growing season, and this is where our freeze watch is in effect. By Tuesday morning, if you weren't done Monday, you're definitely done Tuesday. Temperatures dropping into the teens and 20s for all locations across the region, expecting a solid end to the growing season by Tuesday morning. Review your high temperatures. Sunday here, barely getting up to about 40, 45 degrees, even in the lower elevations with that colder air filtering in. High temperatures on Monday, up just a couple degrees, but remaining cold. Tuesday, maybe a lingering shower, up just a few degrees. It's kind of a transition day. By the time we get to Wednesday, drier weather with some ridging moving in. And you can see we see 50s returning to lower elevations across the region. And both Wednesday and Thursday next week are currently expected to be dry for southeast Idaho. That's it for your hazard briefing this morning. If you have any questions for us, please reach out and have a great day.